Joe Lanou, live on X.
Well, good evening and happy Friday. Welcome to Night Court with Joe Lanou and the Night Crew. We're doing another police video use of force review, or police force video review. We've got on our panel tonight, we've got Jason. He's back. We'll have lawyer Joe. She's making some homemade pizza, but she'll be with us shortly. And you've got myself, and you've got John Cox as the law enforcement representation. And, of course, we got FT French, the Grizz, and Big Ron, and Bruce, and I see veteran LT3 has made it into the space as well. Welcome, veteran. We'll also be giving comments, and we want your comments inside the space. It's going to run a little different tonight. We've got an issue with the audio delay between the video and the sound. Now we're streaming live on X now. Bruce, if one of you guys could grab my the link that's on my timeline and drop that into the space, you guys can watch the videos. But if we're going to mute you so that you don't get any audio from the studio, there's the delay, is what we believe. So you'll be able to hear it real time. Once we get that we've reviewed the video, or we've seen the video, when we get into the review, we're going to come back to the space for you guys there to give your comments, questions, and kind of what you think about the situation as far as the video goes. So we're going to try to work it real well. Your host inside the room there is Bruce Wayne and FT French and veteran LT3. They're going to be primary on just kind of keeping the conversation going. Some of your conversations in there we may not be necessarily privy to if we're in the middle of the video review, but we're definitely going to get to you guys a little quicker than what we've done in the past. We don't want to neglect our space friends. But unfortunately, it's the only way to review videos on X is to do it the way we're doing. We're also live streamed on YouTube and Rumble and Kingdom. Do you have it going anywhere else? Where all is this going tonight?
My friend, it's going everywhere that internet streaming can be found. Afterwards, you'll find it on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and the list goes on and on and on. As far as live streaming right now, simulcast, you're definitely on Facebook. We are on Joe Lanou's YouTube page, Kingdom Radio YouTube page. We're on X, and we are definitely, like you already said, on Rumble.
Absolutely. So we're going places, and bear with us while we work through the technical difficulties that we're running into. The only real person in here, keep it under your hats, that really kind of halfway knows what they're doing is our producer, Kingdom. And I want to give him a warm thank you for helping us out again tonight as our producer. So he'll try to keep us straight and keep the show going. I want to introduce our panel guests. We've got Jason. Jason, you want to give us a quick rundown on who you are and what your experience is to review police videos?
Sure. 29 years law enforcement, patrol officer, school resource officer, undercover narcotics team, sergeant, lieutenant, developed a company for active shooter response that is kind of going nationwide right now through legislations, and been involved in police shootings before. Understand police tactics, understand the laws surrounding police, and that's about me.
Yeah, for folks, if you caught our Wednesday night show, this is the same Jason with 3D Response that has a very unique way of making schools less of an attractive target for insane killers that want to come in and do things to our children. But he is the one and only Jason out of Minnesota. But okay, and we've got in the studio, we're going to have some assistance. Well, I'm sorry, I'm overlooking my other panel member. We've got John Cox. John Cox is out of North Carolina and also a former law enforcement officer. But John, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hey everybody, I'm John in the Piedmont area of North Carolina. Had 5 years prior law enforcement before having to go out on medical. No officer involved shooting, but just 5 years under my belt.
All right, folks, we're gonna kick it off with the videos. I did have a little bit of a snafu today. We did some live broadcasting. I've done that for the last couple of days, just trying to get my feet wet in this the streaming game. And at the same time, I'm live broadcasting our UFO episode, and also rebroadcasted the episode on the Independence Party we did last Thursday. Evidently, I didn't isolate the channels, so the audio is actually mixed on some of these. So some of these I've muted the audio. I went back and pulled some once I realized this, which was late in the game. So might have to bear through on some of these. You might hear some police jargon and police talk and some very pertinent things to the video, and maybe something odd about a UFO or green aliens that comes off that UFO episode. But we'll get through it tonight, and lessons learned. We won't do that again. But I want to start with the video. If you were with us on Wednesday, you've seen this, but it's a real short video on the 3D response. It gives it a good overall picture of what that is. But let's go ahead and start with that. And there it is. That's about how long it takes to finish that up. Although that seemed like that was maybe a bit short.
Yeah.
I'll revisit that again, Jason. We'll play that again. I think that video cut off short on us. But let's go to our first video. This one is out of Ohio, and it's not going to have any volume. It's kind of a short video, but it's going to be an interesting one.
Hello.
Before we start, we've got Lawyer Joe in. Lawyer Joe, welcome. How was the pizza?
It's not done. Well, actually, it's setting up right now. It's really good. It's like Chicago style. It's really thick anyway. So I'll have to excuse myself for a minute to go get it here in a minute. But it's really good.
I'm going to need you to keep that to yourself. I hadn't had a chance to eat, so I don't want to hear about some delicious pizza that you're making somewhere Chicago style. So just keep that to yourself tonight, please, Counselor.
All right.
But, for those of you who don't know, a frequent panel member and guest in our spaces and our space shows is we call her Lawyer Joe. She calls me Cop Joe, but you could just call me Joe. But she's Lawyer Joe. She's going to represent criminal defense attorneys tonight and see if she can't pull out a civil violation lawsuit out on these poor law enforcement officers. But we've got some videos that should give us a good critique.
Hey, Lanu. Before you get started, I did want to make one comment that the rebroadcasting of the live shows have been like 1 week, but the rebroadcasting of these live shows, just the other day, there was 1,200 people watching the same show, like where Jason was talking about his new technology, and there was 500 people watching that video live. There was 1,200 people watching the rebroadcast of it the next morning. So definitely the night court and the night court crew is getting a lot of exposure moving forward. So I just wanted to bring that up before you started.
Well, I appreciate that. And everything you said is absolutely correct. We're seeing some great numbers on the rebroadcast. We're seeing great numbers on the live stream. I think adding video to the show gives it a different dimension. And you folks that are my loyal space audience, bear with me, because we're going to figure out a way to draw you guys in, and we're going to be able to do it tonight. We're going to shoot out a link after our first video. There's a link that we can bring you into the studio so that you can participate and ask questions and give comments on these videos, because your opinion matters honestly to me more than any panel member here, because I think it's very curious how people see things in different ways. And those of you that have been to my shows before know that I do enjoy a different point of view, as one would say. But let's go to our first video. No sound on this one, but you're not going to need it. It's pretty quick. So here we go. A little backstory on this. This was a stolen vehicle. This is the very end of a pursuit. And the gentleman does take a bullet there. And this video is going to break it down. They do some slow motion and some stills there because that happens very fast. One thing that attracted me to this video, honestly, are the stills to it. It should be coming up here pretty quick. Okay, and panel, you guys can jump in on there. That's just as the officer was getting out of the video. This is a still from his body-worn camera. It's the same camera, the same picture that you saw when the video was moving. They've just taken the stills out of it. You'll notice in his right hand, he's got a pistol. So he is definitely armed.
Looks like a left hand.
Have a stolen vehicle after a pursuit.
It's his left hand. Details matter.
Advance it a bit more. That's as the officer's running. Now think about it. The camera is on the officer's body. That's how close this pistol is to the officer at this point. But it's happening fast. You guys saw it in real time how fast this was actually happening. So it's not.
You can see the shadow. Like you can see where the cop's hands sticking out. Like, I mean, that's how close they are.
Oh, you bet. And counselor, that's how shadows work. They're a mirror image.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Actually, that's a good eye. I haven't noticed that, but you're right. They're in very close proximity to each other. So we'll go on to the next picture. And there's where he runs into the other officer. But he's still got the pistol in his hand. He's doing the Heisman.
Is the video supposed to be moving?
Now, these are stills of the body-worn camera because it happens so quickly you can't really see. Now, this one, I am curious. Did he break his leg? Do you see his right foot? Does it not look like it's turned 90 degrees the way it should be? Am I the only one that sees that?
No, you're right.
I am super impressed with the movement of this suspect. He was doing some definitely acrobatic running.
He broke his own ankles.
I would say it's contortionist or something.
Probably contortionist. It had to have been that last move there with the foot had to be painful. But he was shot, survived, and charged. But what does my panel think? Let's go to the attorney first. Joe,
That's
what's
actually
your opinion on that if that's your client?
30 to 40 minutes from where I live. It's right near where my son goes to school. It's not a good area. I mean, that if it was just a vehicle robbery or theft, then I'd be pissed that he shot him. But since the dude had a pistol in his hand, I'm surprised he only caught one bullet.
Okay.
I don't see anything wrong with what the cops did at all. The fact that his left hand was sticking out, like, and the gun was pointed at the cop, and with the shadow, we see how close they were, and then he wasn't riddled with bullets. I'm actually impressed by the restraint.
Okay. Jason, what'd you see in that?
This is a great video because I think when I watched the first live, I kind of thought, well, I need more information. And the still shots really clarified why the cops did what they did. And again, I'll go back to what I said the other night is the priorities of law enforcement is to protect the innocent, protect bystanders, protect other cops, and then protect themselves. And the suspect is last. So the fact that I think if that was broadcasted on the news, just what the first video was, people would have a lot of questions. And then when you throw those still shots in there, everything comes into focus as to why the cops did what they did. And in my opinion, 100% justified.
Yeah. And Jason, you've said something before that I 100% agree with. It's that there's a texture to these type of situations. There's more your body's taking in more information than your body can almost process. When you watch the video, there are things that an officer is going to pick up on. And I don't know if it's a visual sight or if it's just you could feel it. But the officers seem to have a better idea of what's going on there that you don't really get out of the video. You can't hear it, you can't smell it, you can't feel it. Yeah, you can't. Something about the look in people's eyes that doesn't come across in video that it does in real person. And I think you're right. When you look at this in real time, you can't really appreciate what the officer was experiencing being that close to the subject. But let's go to John. John, what was your opinion?
So in the beginning, before the steals, I was like, I didn't say anything. Like he wasn't pointing the gun, but when you got to like the second steal, he had the gun still in his left hand and he was pointing at the plainclothes officer. And then it looked like as he turned, he may have switched hands, and it looked like to me he was pointing the gun backwards. Obviously, he didn't know where he was going to hit, but it was pointed right at that officer with the body worn camera. So it was a good shoot to me, from what I can tell.
No, and I agree with Lawyer Joe on this. I think there was some restraint shown by the officers that still, honestly, doesn't give what was really going on there justice. I don't believe the suspect was necessarily pointing the gun at the officer. I think he was swinging in his arms when he run, but that's just where the still catches the. If you just look at the picture, you think that the suspect was actively engaging in assaulting the officer, when I don't think that was really the case. I think he was trying to get away, but the problem is that gun in his hand, and he did take a wound, survived it, and went on to pay his debt to society and go on to do bigger and better things. But FT, I want to go to the room. Let's see what we've got in the room. And folks, Walt's in there. He's more than welcome to listen to our show and observe it, but let's not give this gentleman a mic. I don't want to hear about his parents and his disruptive childhood.
I want to hear the rest of the story about what happened.
I do not want to hear the rest of the story, but we could do another space, just you and he, if you'd like. I'll set it up.
Yeah.
But FT, looks like we've got some questions in the room. Let's go to them.
Go ahead. Not a cultist. Let's start with you.
I don't really have any questions because from what I saw, the officer is perfectly in the right to defend himself. Even if he didn't mean to point the gun at the officer, he was still flagging the shit out of him. So, yeah, I mean, if somebody flags me and I don't know what their intentions are, I'm going to shoot first.
No, I think everybody's in agreement that we don't have an issue the way the officers handled that one, and it seems like that was probably the best outcome. It could have been worse. We would still probably say the same thing if they'd killed that young man. But I think it worked out for the better for everybody under the circumstances. How is the audio? Did we fix the delay doing it the way we're doing it now, FT, or is it too early to tell?
I'm still hearing a little bit of a delay, but it's not super bad, at least for the space. I'm not sure if anybody else.
Does it help by us muting the feed into the space? Does it help by us muting the feed coming into the space to watch the videos? Does it make the videos easier to watch and more enjoyable anyway?
I was going to say something. You did not mute the space feed for that last one.
Yeah.
Well, there was no audio for the video.
No, but we heard you guys talking, and the talking was delayed.
Okay. Yeah, well, we don't have any more comments out of the space. Then I want to move into the next video. This video will have audio to it, so if we could.
Real quick, Joe.
And Joe,
go ahead.
Was this guy shot? Was this guy shot in the knee?
Quick side note. If you guys could just BS for like 10, 15 seconds before you dive into the video after it's done, so the people on the space side can finish watching the video before you guys start discussing it, that would be great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize there was a delay there. But go ahead, Jason.
The cops brought out a tourniquet, I'm wondering, and you mentioned his foot. Was he shot in the kneecap and his knee was blown up? And that's...
I don't think so. I think he took a shot in the hip, is the way I understand it in reading that. The shot was fired after he'd made that turn with that weird foot thing, and honestly, I think that was just a the way the angle of the steel was taken, I don't think his foot was really broken. He was just moving with, it was like an interpretive dancer. He was doing some moves. Arms were going. His body was contorted in 3 different directions, and he was running like your best running back, in my opinion. Gave him a little more ground. Police might not be able to catch that guy, but he wasn't going very far. He was boxed in up at that building. But no, to answer your question, I believe the shot was in the upper hip.
Okay.
All right, guys, we're going to go to our next video. This one is a little bit longer. The audio's to it. I encourage everyone to pay attention. You're going to have to really try to take this in. There's going to be a lot going on in this video, but it's a good video. It's not one that you typically see in law enforcement body-worn cam or dash cam videos. So let's go ahead and go to it. And this one does have audio. Kingdom, if you'll mute the space so they're not getting the double back feed.
He wants you to talk for 10 seconds after you start the video.
No,
10 seconds after.
Some pillow talk.
Yeah, after.
Oh,
He wants pillow talk afterwards. He doesn't want it before.
Okay.
You won't pillow talk.
I know. It's like, all right, wait, I need the stopwatch.
I tell you what, y'all just need to hold that pillow talk until after this is done.
All right,
That's how we'll burn
sweetheart,
up
just
our
give
10
me
seconds.
10.3 seconds. I got this.
That's all it takes. Here we go.
Was that a shot?
It sounded like a shot. Maybe someone in the front. And guys, anyone in here with Mike, this is a good time for us to discuss among ourselves as well.
Yeah.
Happy, however, right now he's having somebody banging at his door like they're trying to get in. I'm not sure if he'll be able to get out.
Yeah, that's me.
And FT, when do you think would be? I want to time the delay, get us a solid number. I think next time he starts a video would be a good time to do that.
Police!
Yeah.
Key.
I'm also telling
Police department!
users to mute the space because our audio is being fed back into the
Shots
broadcast.
fired! Shots fired! Shots fired inside the north stairwell. I'm not hit, but they're shooting through the door.
Copy, officer needs help, 904 21st Avenue, call responding squads to channel 1.
Upstairs! 3 bullets. 3 keep there. Right here? Yeah, right there. Okay. Police!
I'm very worried about the cat right now.
Police!
That's what the fire department's for, the cat.
Come on, stay back! Close the door! Alright, we're going to spot squad. Hey! Go to the south side! Go to the south side. Hey, you guys stay here. Send everybody else.
304. Sorry. 303. Get me a rifle or two up here. Shots are coming from apartment 318 on the northeast corner. Police!
Shots from 318 northeast corner.
Here, Rick. Yeah. What the fuck? We're good. You got a rifle? Get it on that door. 318? Just on that door, 318. I need. Turn them down, guys. It's echoing like crazy. I have my behind that car. Huh? They're sitting behind that car. Okay. Are they inside? No. Get them inside of the squad. Okay. 303 to 307. Please bring me a shield, and if we got a reason for a reason, please.
Come out your apartment door with your hands up.
I don't care. How? You already knew.
Why don't you come out your apartment door with your hands up? You're under arrest. We're not going anywhere.
Because I looked at you, you understood the voice.
Come on outside. Come out your apartment with your hands up.
I don't care.
We're not going anywhere. You're under arrest.
If he doesn't die, then he can't speak. We already changed for exactly what he wanted. So that's. No, that's.
Come out the apartment with your hands up. We're not going anywhere. Go out the apartment door. Keep your hands up. You're under arrest. We're not going anywhere. Mr. Sundberg, we need you to come out and cooperate with us. We don't want to hurt you. We just want to go home. We want to make sure you get the help you need. Come on out. Come on out. Sir, can you come out your apartment door with your hands up? You're under arrest. He's talking to somebody on the phone. He was very uncooperative with me trying to tell him to come out the apartment door with his hands up. Come on, come out your apartment door with your hands up.
Who you are before I let her shoot.
Minneapolis police, you're under arrest. Come out with your hands up. Andrew, come out your apartment with your hands up. You're under arrest. It's Minneapolis police.
You didn't even have the respect to shoot you behind. No, we're just shot you just because you're a doctor. And now look at you, giving yourself respect because now you gotta fight. If you don't want to make all the. Oh, no. Iceland?
He's threatening to shoot the officers and he's breaking up some of his windows. Hey Conan, just make sure you are not. We don't even need to be in. That's what we got AP for. In fact, Conan, why don't I have you go over there? There's a gunshot. 109 shots fired, 2 shots so far.
109, he's threatening to shoot the officers and he's breaking up some of his windows.
He just went tucked in.
Right side.
looked like he bent down and picked something up. I couldn't tell what it was though.
What is that in his hand?
Can't see it.
That might be a gun.
He's got a cell phone.
He popped my camera on.
What's that? Camera? You want it on?
Yeah.
It's on.
He's waving something around in there. Gun.
Gun.
One of nine, two shots so far. Looks like you shot.
Okay. Well, y'all talking about pillow talk? Now's the time to have it.
This will be the best 14 seconds of your life, girl.
14 seconds. Is that all it takes?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some discussion.
Larry Joe, would
about
you
about the
is the broadcast up to speed?
I don't know what that means. Is it up to speed?
Okay, I think.
Has it been 14 seconds? Or
How do we know when we're synced up? Because I hear they're
here. I'll turn down the space for now. I'll put the our show back in there right now. Boom, go. We're live in space again.
FT, we good?
Yeah, we're good. We're synced. The broadcast is again with the lag, but we're done watching the video now.
Okay, that's why you asked us to delay about 10 or 15 seconds before we started talking about the video, because you guys are still watching the video, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
A lot going on in this video. It was originally a disturbance call. I'll throw that out there because I don't think that was abundantly clear. And multifamily housing, i.e. an apartment building. But you know what? For clarity, I want to go to Jason first on this one. What were you seeing there, Jason? And I believe this is in your neck of the woods as well.
Yeah, I was just going to start out with God bless Minneapolis Police Department and what they do. A lot to take in on that. I think in essence, what they did was recognize deadly threat was there, went to a perimeter. I thought they maintained their composure extremely well. And at the end, it looked like they maybe called in a tactical team to assist them. I believe it was a sniper at the end. The only thing that I think, and again, I don't like to morning quarterback this stuff, but I think some pepper balls or some tear gas tossed into that with a launcher might have helped a little bit. But no innocents got hurt, no cops got hurt, and I'm not sure how it ended, but yeah, that's a tough one.
Well, and you're right. It's not abundantly clear in the video that what the last portion of the video was the camera shot of the sniper taking a shot. The suspect was coming out onto the balcony and blasting shots out wildly, and that went on for some time. That the whole scenario that doesn't pick up. I have a question. Why was there a heavy exterior door that looked like it led to other apartments, or was that one apartment that the officer was knocking on? Because it looks like an institutional door, like you'd see in a factory or a jail. Tell us about that tenement or that apartment building there. Are you familiar with them?
I'm not. When I worked narcotics, we did do warrants, and a lot of those buildings down there have heavy doors going into a hallway. We typically got a key to go in to execute the warrant. The other thing I think that you saw in there was you have a female coming out and then two little kids. So you know that you just can't start suppressive fire or just there's other innocents in there. So it really limits the cop's ability to be forceful because you don't want to hurt an innocent. So at that point, the suspect has the advantage because the cops are kind of trapped that they can't return fire because there's innocents in the area. So bad spot for them. I thought they did good.
Joe, I think it's called a fire door. And I think in buildings like that, it's to, if there's a fire somewhere, it's to keep it contained from spreading to the whole building. I think, I'm not 100% sure of that, but I'm pretty sure that's what the
You're
purpose
right.
is.
You're right. That is a fire door. They usually have them on stairwells to keep it from spreading floor to floor.
So if it's a very
I would
densely
think, though, that
populated thing, that's probably what they're for.
are you saying we don't have population down here in Texas?
I said population density, as in the actual
There's
building
7 million
itself.
people in the city of Dallas.
I don't give a shit what you got in the city of Dallas. I'm just saying the thing.
Actually, it's about 7.5 million between DFW and Dallas, which is Dallas, Fort Worth, and all the little cities that are all bunched together. But that's not really the point.
The point is,
I
there are probably
think
a lot
that
of people that live there, so the fire doors are necessary to keep it contained, so the whole building doesn't go up.
fire doors are necessary to, and then they stayed locked. That's why the officer was knocking on it to get into it. They stayed locked to try to prevent anybody just off the street walking in that. It means that the area is not of the best. Most people probably wouldn't enjoy living there unless you grew up there, because it would probably scare the most of us to death. We wouldn't be able to sleep at night.
Yeah,
I think those doors are there for security as well.
But the one point that Joe brings up is the door, and I think this is a good lesson for your listeners, is that you see bricks in a fire door, and there's holes in that door. I mean, when you think you have cover, you might not. Just because you're behind a brick wall or because you're behind a fire door doesn't mean you have cover. So that's a good point.
From experience, I'll tell you that a brick veneer, a real traditional brick building will stop some bullets coming through, but a brick veneer like we have in Texas, I don't even know if it slows bullets down. It is absolutely, it's concealment for sure, but I wouldn't call it cover. But let's go back to, I think Jason's right. Well, I don't want to speak for counsel. So counsel, what did you think about it?
Sorry, I don't want to be
Get your
rude
blood
on the
boiling
mic while
for
I'm
a lawsuit?
No, but sorry, Joe, I was eating my good pizza.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
objection.
Like, I have a feeling most of the ones we're going to watch, I'm probably going to agree with you guys on most of it. There are just certain ones that I get very testy about. But this one, I mean, and the mom in me, as soon as I see those kids running out, I'm like, somebody bum rush this fucker and poke two in his head. Because I just, like, the mom part takes over, and I'm like, oh my God, those babies. But, and if those are all apartments, who knows how many more kids are in there? I mean, Jason's right. It'd be easy to just be able to go in, shooting them up and being like, all right, we're done. But, excuse me, you don't know who's in the apartments around there. And that just, that scares the shit out of the mom and me. But I don't think they did anything wrong. Especially, honestly, this is going to go against everything that I believe for the most part. But when he comes out on this little balcony thing and he starts shooting, I'm surprised they didn't take him out right then. Like, I'm just surprised that they let him shoot more than once, because there were obviously other people around outside. Now, I know the cops probably kind of scattered them and made people get back, but just the fact that he starts shooting randomly, that's where he's done.
And also in that point in the video, folks, I think that the PD is still trying to determine how many more people are in those apartments, because Jason and Joe are right. Every one of the apartments were occupied. We only had one bad guy. Everybody else are victims of that same bad guy. And they were very concerned about getting innocent people out of the way, getting the public out of the way so they could isolate and contain the situation there. But I don't want to give my opinion yet. I want you to give your opinion, and then I want to hear from the room before I give my opinion. So we've got Vet with a hand up. Anybody else in there, get your hands raised. We're going to come to you in just a second. Go ahead, John.
So, yeah, I mean, I think all the way up, I mean, they were clear for use of force. And I'm kind of like Joe, when he started popping off shots from the balcony, that was clear right there. So I personally can't help but wonder if that's one of those apprehensions that'll get cops hurt, is are we good on this or not, and hesitating. And then finally, they just had enough to validate, I guess, in their own minds that, they had a good shoot, because any of those bullets could have done some damage. But yeah, I think it was good.
All right, FT, Bruce, we have anybody in the room? I see Veteran has his hand up. What's the assessment
Yep,
or
never heard of it.
the opinion in the room?
Veterans first. We don't have a whole lot of speakers up here right now, so veteran, go ahead.
Oh, the only thing I wanted to add was the only thing I could think of why the officers on the ground level didn't shoot up when he was poking his head out is only because if you miss a round and it sails up and then comes down, whatever goes up comes down. So I think that might be the only reason they had a hesitation. I think they had would have been a good shoot from the very jump of this video. So I don't think they had a thought about that. It was just maybe if we miss, then there's a possible could get somebody else could get hit.
So I had a
Jason, do you want to address the balcony?
Yeah. What year was this?
Brother, I have to go back and look.
2022. That's why I was saying about the apprehension.
So I can tell you up here in my state, after this whole thing happened, officers started to police in fear. And I think that probably played a huge part into their decision on shoot or don't shoot, because they didn't want to start another shit show. And that carried out probably through the whole nation. But that whole event really changed the way law enforcement makes decisions. So I do think that played into it.
I don't disagree with that. I think they did a great job. I think they showed restraint and good tactical sense. The communication was probably about as good as it gets in a situation like that. And I disagree on the balcony. I know that what would have been in my mind if there were still people inside those apartments, and it's because one of the first shootings I went to as a young SWAT officer, or rookie SWAT officer when I was in my 30s, but was a brick facade apartment building, and even pistol rounds were going through the brick and going through sheetrock and entering the apartments because there's a, if you can imagine, an apartment with a common wall to another apartment behind it. You don't share your back to back, so to speak. I think every round that hit the front of that apartment went all the way through and ended up in the back apartment, which was unaffected. If you'd been in that apartment, luckily was nobody there at the time the shooting started. If you'd been in that apartment, it would be a miracle that you walked out of there unscathed, and really be a miracle if you were alive. Even a wound would be a fortunate thing. But I think that would be in my mind if I'm going to shoot up in that type of situation. To me, that's what it looks like. Same thing. And if we're still pulling people out of apartments, then who's to say my bullet does miss but hits the brick veneer, goes through and hits a child or something in the head. But either way, I think the officer showed great restraint. I think it was a good deal. I've got nothing negative to say about it. But that being said, my criteria for selecting these videos is a simple YouTube search. I don't go look and I don't pick them. The first video that I come along on the search that is clear enough that you can see what's going on, it makes sense, it's not too jumpy, or if it doesn't have someone else's narration in it, then I select that video. So I'm not picking and choosing the videos I get. But I think we got fortunate today. I think we were able to get a one that I think we've all got something good to say and maybe got something negative to say about it. But let's go into it now. Now, I'm leaving the audio on this one, so you guys may hear something about UFOs. You may hear something about another episode, because when I took these recordings and was doing the editing, I didn't separate my sound source. By the time I realized it was too late to go back I'd have to go back and redo each video. So I won't make that mistake again, but you need to hear the audio on this one. And here we go.
I mean, whatever it is, and maybe a longer video.
But I can.
What do we think about it being a hoax video? Could this be?
So I said, we're not going to lock them up. I'll block them in. Fake news. You're not going to lock them up. He's like, oh, we'll take that. They don't want to bring them.
Good. When you look at the news and stuff like that, congratulations on you. I don't know.
All right, since we got some background in there.
Oh yeah, I can hear the audio over it.
Yeah, since we got some background in there, let me kind of talk you what this is. This is a suspicious person call. This is a public parking lot this person is sitting in. law enforcement officers stop and make contact with them, and this is their contact in initial contact.
But if the car's off,
It's hard to tell from that.
I'm not worried.
Looks like a transformer.
When it
Looks like a Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
when the camera pans out, it really there's
Okay, so she takes documents. I want everybody to make note of where how she parked. We're going to talk about that.
That wasn't cool.
you can't see what's on the other side of the platform. Piece of plastic and duck down behind it, and you're, for all intents and purposes, invisible.
Right now.
They took that same material and just
It's not a big deal. We're just gonna get you. We're gonna have you step out, and we'll work it in and go from there. Okay?
But isn't that it's basically you have to set it up?
Yeah, just come down here and chill. Okay. All right. No big deal.
What I'm saying is a different form factor, same technology, same principle, but a different form factor, so that whatever that thing is, whatever that object is, it's either covered in a coating of this invisibility shield, or it's made of that invisibility shield.
Okay, for those that can't hear, she's checked the registration. He's got some issues with his registration. She's asking him to step out of the car. No big deal. We're going to take care of it. And he doesn't. He takes off. Didn't appear that he was on the ground. It's quite good noise. Didn't appear if he was on the ground. He was lounged by it or taking it.
Well, if this
hey, veteran, mute your mic. I say that's better.
I don't know if I like her attitude. Well,
Are they shooting? Oh wow.
Yeah, do we want to talk about that yet, or we want to continue?
Like it, yeah.
Let's continue. Everybody make note of that as well.
Drove away, right?
Say again?
Yeah, he got and drove away. I'm not sure if they were shooting back.
Yeah, let me tell you about the audio because it is difficult to hear it there. Yes, both passenger and driver of this vehicle are shooting back at the police as they're driving, and that'll be apparent here in a moment. And we're going to have several. This is kind of a long video. There's several dash cams. There's several body worn cameras.
B Wayne, you're coming.
I didn't understand.
sorry, I just muted the space.
Okay,
I have a volume for them as well.
We're going to go on with the video. Just make note of that. It could have been a drone that's flying over. They could have smudged it, whatever you do, making videos. That one, I don't give it a lot. But Big Ron, what do you think? You've seen FLIR. You've seen things flying.
That one's kind of interesting. I kind of agree with Bruce on that one. It reminds me of the Imperial probe droids off of Empire Strikes. You know, at one point we're seeing a dark blob with a lot of light-colored items on it, kind of hanging down below. There's other areas where it almost looks translucent, which I thought was interesting. I see what Sophie was saying with that sheet. I've seen videos of that before where at a distance it pushes the light wave around you for all intents and purposes. But I don't know how well it'll work on a moving object. I think it has to be close to the spectrum. I'm not sure. I don't know a whole lot about that technology, but you know, my buddy here, and that's in the show, he made a comment that those jets, those are basically RC jet engines, ridiculously loud. I mean, super loud. We're talking almost 200 decibels, so people would be hearing that. I mean, it could be drone using prop, but then again, that would be loud.
Some departments carry
given the shape that it looks round, you could have something that's helium filled and be using a very small pusher prop to push it. That could be feasible. that would be quiet, and you'd be able to get a decent lift capacity. So that could be something.
I'm hearing BS. I'm going to advance it because that part is only good for its audio, and the audio, my apologies, is fouled.
I'm not really into this fight. So you gun face the guy in front of his house. It's much more likely to be our tech than the ones that were in the obviously.
I want to get a clear shot of these glass strikes. I want to talk about that for a second.
Are there 2 or 3?
It's 3. You get a better shot of them in a second here. Here, let's go back here. So 3 rounds right in the windshield there. And that's from the suspects that they're chasing. When they're saying they're shooting at them, that's why you couldn't see the camera. That's how long the officer was laying down and driving to avoid the strikes in the windshield by projectiles or bullets. Jason, how lucky are those officers? How lucky is the driver?
Extremely.
Say again.
Extremely.
Extremely, absolutely, extremely lucky. A lot of folks may not know this, that the angle of that windshield, a lot of rounds will have a slight upward tick to them when they go through. That if you were going to shoot through a windshield, the best place to shoot is as close to the hood as you can get so that the bullets have that uptick, and they would actually, if you're trying to shoot the driver, they would actually get the driver. Good thing that the crooks didn't know that, because it looks like they were trying to put, and then most likely those are 3 lucky shots, but if they were aim shots, they looked like they were aiming directly at where the person would be, which gives them a little bit of an uptick and a little bit of safety to you if you can get down. But yes, the suspects are actively engaging law enforcement in this rolling gun battle. Let's continue. Television news broadcast on naval radar that was picked up on a maneuver in near San Diego, where there's radar data showing that those objects are appearing and disappearing and going into the ocean off the coast of San Diego. And I think Ron could help us with this. I want to say this may be either an aircraft carrier or some platform. He's at least going to be familiar with the radar, I believe. Let's play the one that says naval radar.
George back here with a story that broke today on Mystery Wire. Thanks, Brian. Over the past 3 years or so, the public has been able to see several astounding images of what certainly qualify as UFOs during encounters with the U.S. Navy. There's no question that the Pentagon has censored data to go along with the photos and videos, but none of that information has been leaked or otherwise released. That is, until today.
For 2 long hours on the night of July 15, 2019, the crew of the USS Omaha detected on multiple sensor systems unknown objects that surrounded the ship as it moved through ocean waters west of San Diego. One of the objects, a self-illuminated sphere at least 6 feet in diameter, flew alongside the Omaha for an extended period and was observed through a thermal sensor.
This makes me interested in the UFO.
Jeremy Corbell released the Navy's video weeks ago and says similar
Absolutely no
events
more
were reported
UFO
by
spaces.
8 other Navy ships in the same area over 3 days.
You guys, I know it's long. I want you to just watch everything that goes on. There's several things here that are you don't normally see. Most officers never see this in a 20 or 30 year career.
This whole series was within this kind of, I'd say, circumference of 100 miles, and there was up to 100.
In the last 3 years, the Pentagon has reluctantly confirmed the legitimacy of UFO images captured by Navy ships and air crews, including these photos taken off the coast of Virginia and the better-known videos, the so-called Tic Tac incident and the gimbal. But other than the images themselves, there's been no release of censored data to buttress these cases. There is now.
I want to go with another tactical note. Pay attention to what you hear as gunshots, what that sounds like. That's literally you're hearing the bullet impact. You're not hearing a report from the actual muzzle itself. It's not like bang bang in the movies, so you always know where the bad guy is. You don't know it's really happening until they strike, and they strike just that fast, and that's what it sounds like. It's kind of once you've had that experience, it's kind of surreal to think about that. You really don't hear the pop of the rifle or the pistol. You just get the impact portion of that. So it's not necessarily anything that you did that keeps you alive when it surprises you like that. It means your bad guy missed.
Hey, Joe and Jason, I have a question. Do they use any special like ballistic film or anything on the video or on the videos on the windows of cop cars?
No.
Because they make like a film now that's like it helps.
Yeah, they also have Bearcats, those armored vehicles. When we pull those out, everybody loses their mind.
I just don't understand.
No.
I mean, that's one where you would.
You're not gonna get that. It's not cost effective, and
the film's not going to stop a bullet. It just stops the glass from breaking, and the windshields already have that attached to them.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of any film that would stop a bullet, but I am aware of I forget what they call it. It makes it somewhat shatterproof. It didn't stop
I just meant the film that I don't remember where I saw it. It was a story somewhere, but it's like a ballistic. It's almost like a plexiglass type of, those kind of things you put on your phone that are almost like a tempered glass. There's
Screen
something
protector?
like that. Yeah, but it's like a tempered glass thing, and it prevents it from shattering. So it's not going to stop the bullet, but it's going to prevent glass from shattering and like come in your face.
Yeah, and those only withstand about 90 seconds to 2 minutes of beating on them before they shatter. It's basically something that turns a normal piece of glass into a windshield of your car, and that's why when you saw those bullet holes, the glass didn't shatter. It maintained its integrity. It just impacted that one point, and the film did its job, but the bullet still came through.
Right. Okay, I got it. Thank you.
And I'll tell you that is a benefit, because that windshield spider webs. I've never done it myself, but I've heard stories of officers pulling over and putting their feet there to kick the windshield out so they can continue the pursuit in a situation like that. Or I don't know any officers who's been through what we're watching here. I'll tell you that right now. I've never heard a story like this, and I haven't any experience in myself. But that windshield spider webbing up is a big issue. But I think when that's happening to you, getting a little glass on you or the windshield breaking is probably the least of your concerns. Being thankful that one of those bullets didn't impact your chest is probably the biggest thing. But let's continue. But pay attention to the sound of the strikes. Those aren't muzzle flashes you're hearing. It's the literal bullet impacting the glass, and the sound of that would be like throwing a rock if you could throw a rock that fast. All right, here we go.
You know what I mean? But we don't want anybody to get caught in it.
Over a period of hours, crew members on the USS Omaha, which is located in the center of this radar screen, monitored the approach of the unknown objects, as many as 14 at one point, all around the ship. 2 different radar systems watched the objects and estimated their speed.
I want to hold up. Can we go live into the space? James has got a question, and it could be about the glass. I don't want to get too far away from that.
Broadcast audio as well.
Let's go into the space and pull up James. James,
They're
what was your
talking-
question? I saw your hand
they're
up, brother,
talking
while we were
space.
talking about glass and bullet holes.
They're having a conversation about something else in the space.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for having control of that.
Corbell obtained the images from sources he declines to identify. The Pentagon's UAP task force considers the Omaha spheres to be true unknowns. The ships that were under observation by the unknowns were unable to track where they came from or where they disappeared to. The Omaha sphere appears to have vanished into the ocean. At that point, it also vanished from all sensors. In one video snippet, 9 of the objects were seen around the Omaha, but 2 of them
quietly cut out the thing, unlocked that.
Big Ron, what are we looking at there? Is that
circles? Lots of circles.
Is that your professional opinion?
That's my professional opinion. So we're looking at the radar system inside of the Littoral combat ship here. So that picture they showed the ship is actually what that specific ship looks like. That's one of our newest LCS 12s. So what you're looking at here is the typical radar screen. The V that you see on one of these targets is the proposed direction that item is moving. Now, if memory serves me correctly, the longer that line is, the faster that item is moving. So if you look at the one that's dead center of the screen, which would be 000, just outside of that first ring, you see it's got a very short line and it's moving to the west. And if you look down to the lower right-hand corner, you'll see that's inside of the inner ring. You've got one that's got an extremely long line.
Block up so we can see the bottom of the video. There you go.
You've got an extremely long line just to the east of the ship. Because remember, the ship is in the center. The V is the direction the ship is looking, or the radar is looking. The longer that line, the faster it's going. So that object to the right has got an extremely long line, and it's moving to the east by northeast at an extremely fast rate of speed, versus that object to the north is moving to the west at an extremely slower rate of speed. And then you see an object sitting there with a diamond and a slash, and there's no dot off that at all, which would indicate that it's not moving at all. It's dead still. So that's what you're getting the idea. As you see this video move, you'll see those lines will move. They'll change length, and that's as the object is changing its perspective to the center point and its speed. You'll also notice that the V, there's a little short line that comes out, and it moves left and right inside that V, and then a longer line will come off of that. That short line is the direction of steering, and then the longer line is the proposed direction that's off that steering arm, so they can see what the ship is doing.
Okay. Let's play it and see if we can apply some of that knowledge to this.
Dropped off, somehow invisible to 2 radar systems.
And it supports the hypothesis that these are not just a balloon dropping into the water, or it's not something that is easily explained. These are true, unidentified, in mass number. And we'll talk more about that. That's what we're showing people, where you have radar.
Okay, Ron.
Remember, I got to unlock it.
With the information you just gave us, it's impossible to use your balloons, because the balloons are going to be moving at a rate of speed that's going to have a dotted line that long, right?
No, they're talking objects moving. I think at one point they were talking knots of increasing speed, and then somebody else made a comment that it was at 156 knots of increasing speed. So again, you're not going to see balloons that are moving that fast. For material to be that thin, to be able to have a lighter than air ship, we start.
All right, folks. That's the end of it. They do that one more time. That showed every angle of every person that got around that vehicle and put in a kill shot. They were deceased. They were DRTs, dead right there. So I want to go to Jason first. There's a lot going on in this. I think your assessment first is probably the wisest. But let's give it a couple more seconds. Let our folks in the room have a chance to catch up. They are about 10 or 15 seconds behind us. But wow, right? Have you ever seen anything like that, Jason? Not necessarily the details of the video, but just a situation like that. Have you ever been in a situation like that? Maybe that's a better question.
It kind of, you brought up a point earlier about the windshield and shooting to it, because the shooting that I was in was actually shots being fired into a windshield, and I actually heard bullets flying by my head because a lot of the rounds were deflected off of the windshield because they came in too high. And it was that very interesting point you brought up, because that's actually 100% true, and I lived it. But there's a lot to digest with this one. I've been in a lot of pursuits, not recently, obviously, but back on my earlier career. And it's probably the most adrenaline dump that a human being can ever experience.
Kingdom, can you unmute the space?
Yeah, give me 1 second. You guys will be unmuted in just 1 second, my friend. Sorry about that. All right.
Okay, there we go.
Should I continue?
Please.
Anyway.
The bulletproof, you were talking about the bulletproof glass, and you had an experience like that.
No, not bulletproof. Just the shooting that I was involved in was windshields can deflect rounds. So if you're standing on the side of the car like I was actually hearing bullets kind of flying by my head. Literally, and I didn't hear the bang. Joe's 100% right. It was whoosh by my head, and so that's kind of beside the point. We just brought up a little bit of my memory there.
Well,
But
we didn't talk about when you can hear it cut in the air, because you and I can talk offline, but I actually know how close that bullet's got to be for you to hear it, and it's got a different pitch the closer it gets. I think that when it gets close enough, it's a silent pitch.
Yeah,
There's when you can hear the bullet cutting through the air, it's relatively close, unless it's got a good tumble. You may hear that sound you hear in the westerns, wing. That maybe not necessarily close, but when you hear it cutting the air, it's pretty close.
Yeah,
and that's also, we talked about hydroshocks. That's one of the reasons my department used hydroshocks. They actually cut that glass a little bit better so that you don't have to aim so low. But depending on the angle of that windshield, I've seen good shoots where they shot the driver, and the bullets were literally a shot pattern at where the glass meets the metal. That's how low they were to be able to hit the driver in the upper torso and in the face. So depending on the angle of the windshield, there's quite a bit of deflection there. But let's okay, you're right. There's a lot to break down in this video. So let's take the first portion. Let's go initial stop prior to any felony being committed that we could see. Officers get a call. Suspicious person. Evidently, she had run the plate. The plate come back with expired tags. In this state, evidently, if you don't have insurance, they can expire your tags. Registration, because that's what she said, your registration's expired. And she says, no big deal. And he's like, you can't really hear what he's saying inside the car, but she parrots what he says a couple of times. One was that, oh, you didn't know your registration was a problem. Okay, no big deal. She said, we can get it taken care of. Let's take it one step at a time. Just step out of the vehicle for me. And then he says something, and she says, oh, no, really? Yes, but evidently he was saying that he got stabbed or shot. I can't remember which one it was, but injured, I think shot. She said, you got shot yesterday and you're driving around? He said, no, I got shot in 2023. I think is what he said. Another year, he says. And she says, oh, okay. And that's when he throws in the drive and the pursuit's on. What does anybody have any exceptions on the panel? Let's do it like that. Does anybody have any exceptions with the way the traffic stop was made? We'll call it the traffic stop, the first contact.
I do.
Or comments?
I do. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. No, I do. I think the suspicion call, from the officer's point of view, the way they approached the vehicle, the way the car was positioned behind it, I think it's a routine call that you just kind of get lackadaisical, and I think officer safety kind of was neglected a little bit. And again, I'm not trying to money quarterback, but I would have approached it a little bit differently, regardless of what it is. But the bigger point here is officers go to a suspicion call and it turns into this. And that's where I think people need to recognize that officers respond to something, have no idea what they're really walking into. And this is a good example of it.
I agree. Lawyer Joe, comment on the first part stop?
No. I mean, I was so distracted by the UFO stuff that I had to mute a bunch of it so I could pay attention. But no, I mean, other than you said pay attention to where the car was parked. Why? Where her car was parked.
Let me get around the room first, and then we'll talk about that part, and then we'll move on to.
But no, I think she did a good job with the whole keeping it calm and being like, hey, no big deal. It's just a paperwork issue. Let's just take care of that. I mean, I like that. I like the keeping it calm and making it look, if it really does need to be taken care of, it really isn't a big issue. It's a paperwork thing. You didn't get your insurance in on time, whatever. We can take care of it. No big deal. We'll be on our way. I actually liked that.
Okay. John.
Yeah, so other than the position of the car during the initial stop, yeah, it seemed like she was a little bit complacent or just nonchalant. But after that, it's kind of like what he was saying to her wasn't registering, and that may have been, in my opinion, maybe because she wasn't more on guard than maybe what she should have been. But yeah, overall,
Okay, what was your issue with the car?
I would not have parked that way.
How would you have parked, and for what reason?
I would have parked short of that vehicle just because, and he could have slammed it in reverse as she was getting out, pinned her, and done a whole lot of damage. It's just me.
Okay. Ron, anybody in the room in the space? Any comments on the first part of that?
Yeah, anybody have any questions?
No, just a comment that in this state of Kentucky, it's the same way. If your tags are expired or your insurance falls through, your tags get expired and your registration gets expired as well. So we have that here.
In the state of Texas, we still use calendars to expire shit, but whatever. It works, I guess. All right, nobody's got comments. I'll give my comments. I think the stop was fine. I think the nonchalant attitude, I think, is not a bad verbal judo. You got to remember, if somebody's hinked up and they know that they either wanted before, if they're wanted for a warrant, and typically they know it before you know it. So it's a bit of a chess game being played in a situation like that. I think the officers did a pretty decent job. I don't like the way they parked the car. I think, one, if the shootout had occurred right there at that location, they would have difficulty finding some good cover. The only cover around that vehicle, honestly, tires and that engine block, but really the engine block is about the only thing that you can really count on stopping a bullet. That hiding behind the door. I knew of an officer that was shot in the throat from a bullet that was down deflected coming out of the light bar in a shooting. So that car is not good for you in that parallel position. I would have head in parked on it if I was going to come in behind them, which I probably would have done that as well. But I would have head in parked. It also gives me the advantage of I'm going to come back to my car and my squad and start riding. I like the people that I need to keep an eye on. I like them be in front of me because I can move my eyes to keep an eye on them. I don't have to move my head. So you can write, keep looking up. It's kind of hard for somebody to sneak up on you from the front anyway, in my opinion. But let's go on to the crook says, no, not today. That's not going to happen. They put it in drive. They jump over the curb, and then the pursuit begins. The next little scene we get there is one of those, the passenger female officer from the original stop. She's got her Glock out the window. She's running through the window. Actually, let's see if we can't bring that up and let's just kill the sound. Let me see if I can find that. So as she's sitting in her car and looking forward, the crook is to her right. I don't like that. Boop, 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 boop. And hey, all my gun 2A guys in here, tell me when you watch this, why did she have a malfunction? All right, here we go. So they're receiving fire. She's got the good old Glock out. She's got a good two-hand stance. And then she had a stoppage. Anybody on the panel?
Limp wrist?
Yeah, she didn't say that. Limp wrist.
Yeah, it looked like limp wrist to me too.
Yeah, 100%. Just thought that was interesting.
It's probably that grip angle.
You say again?
Probably the grip angle.
Was that the
grip angle's right on the Glock? It's for you. It's you weird folks that you think it's not a solid pistol.
That's right.
But either way, a limp wrist it sucked up some of the recoil, so it didn't have enough blowback recoil to cycle itself. But she does right, and she gets right back into action, and she's shooting out the car like it's a Hollywood movie.
Yeah, that didn't sound good.
Real men wear aprons.
I have an issue with them hanging out the window, firing back like that, just because you don't have a rifle, you have a pistol, and there's a whole lot of things can go wrong that way.
Can you roll it? Can you roll it back just a little bit? Can I watch her firing again before the malfunction?
Tell me when you want me to pause.
I think that might be hard because it'll be delayed for us.
I'll check her out in the mirror.
She's got her like glasses that you go to the beach with on.
Hey, I wouldn't mess with her. She knows what she's doing with a firearm, either slack wrist or not. She's
That's a
leaning out
crazy
the car. I'll
selfie.
give her some slack. Is that what you wanted to see, Pancakes? Let me know when you get there. Hey, by the way, I'll extend the invitation again. We can take some more folks in the studio. How many do we have in the studio now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We can take some in the room. You still be able to see everything and all that business, and I can cycle you up if you want to speak inside the studio. You're more than welcome to do it. Just give me a name of who wants it, and I'll send it to you in a DM.
Yeah,
I do have a question for all police officers in the space. How do you feel about her leaning out of the window? Do you feel any kind of too much of a risk factor there with the public?
Let's pause that because I want to hear other people's opinion on it. Yes, we're gonna have a discussion about shooting from a moving vehicle and what circumstances that might be okay. But no other questions there, Pancakes? Do I need to advance, go forward, go backwards? Did you see what you wanted to see on her usage of the firearm? All right, I'm going to continue.
Sorry, my bad. I don't know how I got muted, but I was saying, can you run it back about 5 seconds before the malfunction, and then play it?
Yes, sir. So they're in pursuit now. She hasn't cleared leather. There she is, I think, now. 1 round, misfire. And she's aiming. I mean, she's not just hanging a hand out the window blasting. Is that what you wanted to see, Pancakes?
It looks like she's behind. Yeah, I think that's what I need to see. Yeah, it's hard to tell if it was her. It almost looked like she was might have had her finger on the slide lock. Her thumb overlapped on the slide lock, but I could be wrong on that.
Yeah.
But you're right. She is. I mean, she's behind the gun, so she's not just blind firing.
Lanu, it looked like she had her hand out the window and then she went to go take her head out of the window. And then you can see her, like her glasses were blowing off her face a little bit. And then she moved her head back inside and she kind of held it out the window for a second. And then she brought it back in. I'm not even sure if she fired again after it got jammed.
Yeah, I think she rocked off 1 or 2 more after that, but she was aiming. She wasn't shooting blindly. And I'm not gonna gig her too much on a slack wrist. I think that could have happened to many people in that type of situation where you're at an odd angle. I don't know that any police academy for sure and regular patrol officers are getting trained on how to shoot from a moving vehicle. I'll say this: the elephant in the room. It's highly discouraged. It was against my department and policy. If I were going to engage shoot from a moving vehicle, I would literally have to have the sheriff's approval to do so.
Well, it's like the Bo and Luke Duke or the Ace Ventura out the window. It sounds good until you put your face out of there like 60 miles an hour. You can't see shit. I mean,
you know what? Let's hear from Jason. I want to hear from Jason and John on that. You both knew what your departmental policies were with this. What would have to occur to you for that to be okay in your departments?
Go ahead, John.
Try again, Jason.
I can go first if that's what you want, but I've been in this position before as a supervisor when we've had pursuits going on. Not that there were shots being fired, but in my mind, I'm looking at this whole thing and looking at it goes back to the priority of lives here. And I would have been kind of tempted to, if I'm working that and I'm the supervisor, I want a helicopter up in the air. I want other resources to follow this guy, and I want us to back off. We know who he is. Are we risking the lives of the public by continuing to pursue? And the other thing too is, at the end of that, I was watching the emotions. I mean, it's an emotional moment, and you get hyper focused on stopping this guy. That would have been, as a supervisor, that would have stressed the hell out of me. I get they were shot at. It's all about saving lives. And do you continue the pursuit, or do you back off and try another time? I'm just speaking out loud. Yeah, I'll leave it there.
Well, in general, did your department even have a written policy about whether you could or could not shoot from a moving vehicle? It was actually written in our policy that we could not.
Our policy, if deadly force is justified, then you can do it. But there's a lot of reasonableness that comes with that, so it's very subjective.
And just FYI, Jason, the proper term is ghetto bird.
What's a ghetto bird?
He called it a helicopter.
Oh, no, actually, yeah, I've actually heard that before. No, absolutely. If air assets aren't up, but I think that an officer could make a case for that a reasonable person would believe that these two people are not only armed, but they are dangerous, and they've shown that danger to the general public. But okay, so what do we think, John?
That would have given us the green light to discharge from the vehicle. You just got to be able to. You better damn well be able to articulate why you were shooting from the vehicle. But I mean, we didn't really have a written policy on it per se, but you better be able to articulate why you was discharging the firearm from the vehicle, and in a situation like that, But yeah, I mean,
I've never been in that type of situation. I have shot into a moving vehicle, but I mean, it was moving back and forth. It wasn't going down the highway necessarily. But I do know early on when I was a rookie, when we had a pursuit, you always wanted to try to get a DPS state trooper involved. They actually could shoot from a moving vehicle. And I've never witnessed it myself, but I've been, like, it's happened on other shifts. Stories of they'll come up beside a vehicle and hang a shotgun out the window and blow the back tires out of it. That was a common thing that Texas DPS used to do, but I think they've since changed their policy. But it was pretty hard. And of course, no one would have held us to a different standard or hit us with some policy if the decision we made was correct. But if you go the other way with it, one of those rounds was errant and strikes a child, my department wouldn't have stood behind you, and they had the policy to prove that they didn't have to stand behind you in a situation like that. But overall, I'm not upset with it. She didn't hang it out, I think, recklessly. I think she was trying to take well-aimed shots the best she could. And I didn't read of anything of any innocent civilians being shot. But you do notice that they change a tactic. And I'm just going to advance this a little bit. They change the tactic and they get officers ahead. You hear some on the radio between the UFO talk. Let's try to get somebody ahead of us. We need somebody ahead of them. And I think it's actually during this time period here. And this is, you know what? I'm not sure what this, I think this is a different unit. I think these are the two male officers with the shots in the windshield, but it didn't change the camera name. And we can talk about the windshield. Anybody wants to talk about the windshield? We've already done it. We can skip over that and get somewhere else. But there's the windshield. And if you noticed the film that Jason and Lawyer Joe are speaking about, keeps that glass still pretty clear with some not bad shot group. Actually, that's what also caught my eye. Jason, is that's a pretty good shot group from firing from a moving vehicle. I think it's luck.
Back when
but we also advanced through. Go ahead, Jason.
I was gonna say I don't know where they shooting through it. I don't know what kind of car they're in, but back window with a steady mount is easier than hanging out of the door.
And I suspect that we don't get a good view of it, but I suspect that the passenger had climbed over the back seat and is going straight out the back. It was an SUV type, not a large SUV, but a smaller SUV type vehicle. Could have even been like a minivan. So you're right, shooting directly out the back. Still, either way, that's not horrible. Okay, so they stop. They get ahead of the suspect. It's coming down. A lot of times, spike strips would be deployed if they had those, but evidently they don't. But they're not afraid to put some bullets into that vehicle as it travels by. So they're shooting at it.
I have a
want
question.
it to be stopped. Go ahead.
So I've seen, I've never been a police officer, but I've seen videos of police officers, and I've seen many of them where the police officer is shooting the suspect through the window, through the windshield. And would that be something like the windshield already has some bullet holes in it, but would that be something you would do, is shoot through the windshield or not?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's actually ammo that's made specifically for barrier penetration, such as like quantity critical duty.
Yeah, even like I said, we use Hydra shocks, which is kind of a for a layman, I guess it's a hybrid hollow point, but it has a glass cutting ability to it. But the points that you really want to know as a police officer, and if you're going to shoot through a windshield, and absolutely you shoot through windshield or side glass, but that windshield's got an angle on it, and it will change the angle of the bullet. So if you're shooting directly at the person, odds are those bullets are going to go over that person. They're going to go over them. If you'll shoot low, then that bullet's going to have an up skip to it as it goes through the windshield. The one vehicle that I saw that was shot into like that from an officer that I knew, the strike of the rounds, and there goes again as they drive by, but they're putting it into them. Look at that. Not bad shots, but they're putting them into that vehicle as they drive by. But the one that I saw, the strike impact of the rounds that did kill the suspect were exactly where the glass and the steel meet on your windshield. They were shooting that low, and that's how much deflection the bullet had up, because it struck the suspect in the upper chest and in the face.
And the other thing, Joe, too, is the shooting I was in. It was a 40 cal coming through the front windshield of the suspect, and he didn't die. And we actually had a 140 caliber round stuck in the guy's sternum, and it went through the glass, lost its velocity, and could not penetrate the sternum.
I still bet that hurt. I bet that was painful. The shooting I'm speaking of, it was a 40 as well. It was 40 hydroshocks, but he was DRT. That was the last drive he took. All right. Any questions on the glass? Any questions on the officers shooting at a moving vehicle as it drives by?
We don't have any hands up on our.
Sounds good. All right. Now they get to the end. The suspect wrecks out 1050s and is no longer mobile. Lawyer Joe, they didn't ask him to put his hands up. They didn't call him out of the vehicle. They didn't give these guys any chance at all. They were like hunting him. What do you think about that? Look, they didn't say stop or nothing. Let me see hands.
Yeah, I think they were beyond that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, once you start shooting at cops, you have to expect that they're going to shoot back.
They weren't shooting at cops right then. They just had an automobile accident. They weren't shooting at cops then. The cops weren't returning fire here. That vehicle's still crashing.
At
They're
that
not.
point,
Let me see your hands. They're not
if you
nothing.
don't want to get shot, I would say, toss your vehicle out of the weapon, or toss your weapon out of the vehicle. Excuse me.
Yeah, toss. And what about proportional? That's not proportional. There's now you've seen there's two officers now that have literally unloaded a magazine of I think 40 caliber into that vehicle, and here's the third one about to do the same thing.
So that was one of the things I was going to say. It looked like that's what we had was Glock 21s, 45 caliber. That's what it looked like she had.
Okay, could be. But either way, it's not a small weapon. Look, they're sitting there like, is it coming this way? They're listening on the radio. Oh, yep, I hear it. I hear it. And look, it wrecks out, and now they're just running over there shooting at these guys.
After all this person did to put the public in danger, put these officers in danger, this guy is going to kill somebody if he leaves that scene. The only problem I have with this whole ending of it is the crossfire with the cops.
I saw that. But although I don't think it was too horrible. He did shoulder up, but he dropped it pretty quick. He found his angle, but there was a little bit there. They adjusted. If you notice, they went more V. I think when they realized each other were there, but I think that might have been 10 rounds in. So yeah,
we got a.
And here's another guy.
We got a question from veteran Joe.
What's up, veteran? Tell us about
it. My question is, one, I do agree. Maybe somebody should have been like, hands up or something when the vehicle crashed. But question on, is this time? I know this scene where everybody was carrying 40 or 45, so this is a while ago. Did they have patrol rifles then? I'm just curious on when the vehicle passed. Nobody had a patrol rifle to take maybe a more accurate shot to slow it down or stop it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they had them or not. But you're right. I didn't see one either. And I think that. Yeah, I think you're right. I think they had. Wouldn't you think you'd see one out, Jason?
Yeah, the problem with that
is even a shotgun about a vehicle driving by, with some slug or some buckshot into the front tires that goes by or the radiator.
So the problem with that is when you're under that amount of stress and you're taking rounds, most of the long weapons, whether a shotgun or a rifle or in your car, are locked in, and it's extremely. I've been to calls too before where you don't have time to take that unlock that rifle, grab it and go. You got to go now. So that would be my thing. Under the stress that they were in, they went to their handgun, and just out of pure adrenaline, they just wanted to respond. And it takes time to get that long gun out.
No, it does. You gotta unlock it, pull it out.
Wasn't it Buffalo that was one of the first agencies when they come out and say when they were taking equipment away from some of the law enforcement agencies up north because it was scary, like ballistic shields, Bearcat, the patrol rifles, Mini 14s, ARs, whichever. Wasn't Buffalo one of those agencies that they took that stuff away from because it was scary?
It seems like I recall that they did that to some agencies. I don't know if it was Buffalo, but if they did, honestly, that was what we just saw there is more danger to the public by not having the ability for more precision shot with a rifle. But yeah,
I will say this, after the marathon bombing, I definitely know that cops in the area, their squad cars, had 5 or 6 AR-15s lined up. It's kind of something where the left plays themselves because they demonize those firearms so much. So when people see that the agencies, carry them, they have that fear of that firearm because the Democrats like to fearmonger it.
Yeah, no, it's a very useful tool if you know how to use it, and when it's being used for good, that I cheer it on. But, I think is and I played devil's advocate on it. These officers didn't do anything wrong. That's exactly what should happen into that, because what was going on needed to stop. The continuance of these two resisting arrest in the violent manner that they were uh, just put an officer's life in danger. It put many citizens' lives in danger. Every round fired at this vehicle did not hit that vehicle. The other sad part about this is there's some person or a team of people that had to go out and do a use of force investigation for every one of those bullets that were fired that day and all those different locations. Can you imagine going down the street where a little girl was clacking out rounds? Yeah, and all the last scene. I bet they were 48 hours continuous on that last scene, mapping out every one of those bullet strikes and every bullet that was fired. So that's the real sad part, is somebody had to investigate that. Okay, I'm gonna go to.
What year was
You
that?
know what? I guess I need to start. I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't look that deep into it. Sorry about that. I didn't look that deep into that one. I know it was Buffalo.
Yes.
Now we want to go to Florida. But go ahead, John.
No, I was just gonna say I looked right quick, and Buffalo was one that they took their rifles, put them in storage.
I wonder if that was the same time period.
October 31st of 2019. That's what I was wondering.
So would that have been part of the call to defund the police?
Yeah.
Now a patrol rifle would have been pretty good there, in my opinion. Let's go to a man in Florida, or a Florida man.
It was like orangey, silvery color.
I'm sorry, guys. We got the UFOs.
It wasn't moving. It was literally just.
That was our British friend talking about aliens. Which, by the way, if you hadn't caught that was a pretty good show on Tuesday.
It was.
It was interesting.
Really good. Yeah.
All right, I believe this is out of Jacksonville, Florida. This is Ron's stomping grounds. It's literally a.
Wait, Joe, before we continue, can we desync the audio with the space?
What does desync mean?
Can you if you could mute and then both ways, and then we can watch from the broadcast.
Yeah, I'll mute it right now. Do you have a link to this? I can bring it live in here.
I don't have a link.
Or just tell me what it is. I can look it up real quick and put it in there live without the second noise.
No. My friend, I don't remember the name of the video. I captured it and gave it my own name. But
when did it happen? What's the situation with it? If you'd like to do it that way, so we only have the one sound.
It happened in Florida. I do not know what year.
Florida police shooting?
I'll Google it. I'll just stand by. I'll find it. No.
Yeah, if only I could read the Axon body cam. 2022
7/22/2022.
Okay, yeah, so like Florida shooting on that date.
There's actually a bunch of stuff that comes up when you search for that. I found that Buffalo police shooting one.
Let's go with this one.
Yeah, maximize it.
Go, dude. Give me a
There you go.
chance.
Hey, how you doing, sir? You stay out here? No, I'm just dropping him off. Hey, let me see your hands, partner. Hey. What do you got? Hey. Waiting 236, hold traffic, shots fired. 8500 East 41st Street, extended stay. Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Shots fired. Hands, let me see your hands right now. Hold on. Hey, partner, don't move. Don't move. He's still got the gun in his hand. Don't move. Hickey, back off, back off. Hey, don't move.
Okay, what do we think about that one?
I think he saw stuff that we didn't see.
Did nobody see that?
I did not.
Ask me like what
It was
what?
yeah. It was so fast. We didn't know like, the video is different than the cop's eyes, so he might have seen some, but it looks like he just shot for no reason. But obviously, he might have seen something or a gun or something.
And no, I don't know the year or the backstory on that one either. When he went up to the vehicle, it's a disturbance. It's a suspicious person call. I do know that. You'll notice that the vehicle was parked way back out of the space. It wasn't all the way to the curb. Let me see if I can get back to that doing this. Here we go. See how far the vehicle is back from the curb? Or the tire stocks?
Yeah.
That's unusual. That would make me look a little bit, but believe they have a suspicious person call. If you look over here, we've got our other police officer, but I'm not sure if they know where to go respond to, but I think it parked off the curb, made him want to make contact here. But this other officer is not ignoring these other two here, which makes me believe that it wasn't maybe a suspicious person called on the vehicle itself. But watch how he does it. He stands to the back, and the windows are pretty tinted, so it's hard to see. I don't know if he can see in there and know that there's two people inside that vehicle or not.
Excuse me.
Hey, how you doing, sir? You stay out here? No, I'm just dropping him off. Hey, let me see your hands, partner. Hey.
That's always a clue.
Well, he also
look over
had
their
the
shoulder
door
for a
open.
place to go.
He had the door
Say
open,
again?
so he had the door open, so maybe the body cam doesn't show it with the tinted windows, but his head was probably higher than this, and he could see when that door was open, the passenger maybe had a gun or something. I don't know.
No, he absolutely sees something. Go a little further. Because now he is not concerned about the one person he's made contact with. His full attention is on that vehicle.
What do you got? Hey. Waiting 236, hold traffic, shots fired. 8500 East 41st Street, extended stay. Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
This is good radio work.
Hands, let me see your hands right now. Hold on. Hey, partner, don't move. Don't move. He's still got the gun in his hand. Don't move. Hickey, back off, back off. Hey, don't move.
I would have liked to see more on that, but I couldn't find anything else on that one in particular. This one, I think I do know what this one is.
Okay. I'm cross-deputized with Tulsa County.
Yeah, that was not bad. But on that shoot there, Jason, what do you think? The extended stay shoot.
I'd hire that guy.
There's going to be a lot of guessing there. There's a lot of information that you don't have. I understand that.
No, based upon his, I would hire him in a minute. He saw something and responded and went back to his attention on the guy over there, told him to get down. Great radio traffic. That was impressive to me.
Okay, John, what'd you think?
Yeah, he's spot on. I mean, he was obviously you're going to have the adrenaline going, but he was very clear. precise. Shut the radio down, and then address the guy that had walked off while holding on the suspect in the vehicle. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, straight police for sure.
Now, I thought he did a good job. What about him placing his hand on the vehicle right at the crease of the door where the door and the body meet while tapping on the window? Do you think that was purposeful, or he was just happy?
100%. He wanted the window down, not the door open. Good pickup on that one.
No, I thought that I was pretty impressed with him, and I also liked his tone. Hey, fellow, or however he said it, was very jovial. He didn't, get over here. Let me see your hands until the guy started. He got policey when he needed to be policey, in my opinion. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty good deal.
And Joe, if you notice in all the videos you're showing right now, every time there's the initial interaction, it's the same theme. The cops are coming in very jovial, very, how's it going? Very, calming. And the people they're dealing with kind of dictates the direction it goes.
You have to relate to what might be that shooting in the purple pill.
Which shooting you talking about?
The extended stay America, Tulsa. Looks like it was 2018.
Okay. Any more details than what we see in the video?
Let's see. It looks like this is probably right after it. It looks like it was May 7th, 2018.
Okay. I think it was a clean shoot. I would be surprised if I didn't sense any over eagerness in that officer to shoot, and it looked like he waited till he had a clear path to do so. And on the tinted windows, it depends on the angle. He could have been standing where the sunlight was hitting that right, where he could at least get a silhouette of what was going on behind that vehicle. Okay, now we got one out of Hartford. This is a real quick one.
Do we want a T-Sync?
I'm desyncing right now.
All right.
All right, another quick one. John, what do you think?
Oh, that's just...
Wait a minute. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here.
You want to watch it again?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no audio for the space. I got you synced back up. There's no audio whatsoever on it.
So it looks like he just stopped in the street, or the guy doesn't have his cherries and berries on, so it doesn't look like he pulled over or had him in a traffic stop.
Yeah, I mean, was it a wreck or was it a setup? I can't.
Because he draws right here. The suspect draws like right.
It looks like a traffic stop.
Whoa.
So the passenger was already out before he got out?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How's it a traffic stop if he's already out at the back of the car when the cop just pulled him over?
Yeah, I mean, outside of that, I mean,
that's a justified shoot.
Seems
right
like
there.
the officer
I mean,
saw something because he had already had his hand on his firearm. He just hadn't cleared leather yet, but he saw something. So. Oh, okay.
No, that was justified. I mean, you pull a gun out on an officer.
Oh yeah, he
shoot,
jumped
you're gonna
out.
get-
Yeah, you don't do that.
Here we go.
See, he already had to drop on him. Yeah.
Luckily, that officer didn't get. Oh, here we go. From the beginning. So
Yeah, so he
there's a traffic stop. He's pulling him over.
See, he knew something was up because he already had his hand on his gun. He just ain't cleared leather yet.
Well, I mean, if I see a suspect getting out of the passenger seat on a traffic stop, just walking towards me, I'm gonna be ready to go too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's walking towards him with his backpack. That's what set the officer off, right?
Oh, he had the gun
Yo,
in
the
his
other guy
hand.
left.
He had the gun in his hand.
You see the car backing up too in the background.
Okay. Now, what do we think?
I think that officer
John.
was really lucky he didn't get shot.
Yeah. There was
Yeah, I
think
mean
there
that's
was some good
clear. I mean,
fortune
when
in there for sure.
I mean, you're already on guard when somebody jumps out of the vehicle.
Oh, dude, he squeezed his pistol so tight he dropped the mag release. And he had to pick up the mag from the ground.
Yeah.
So
it changes his underwear probably.
Kill issue.
No doubt. I think most grand juries would feel that a reasonable person would believe that their life was in danger or at least serious bodily injury. So deadly force check. The officer is good to use deadly force in this situation to defend himself. But tactically, John, what do you think? And I'm not talking about dropping a magazine. I'm not saying somebody getting nervous, but I mean, just in general, tactically, how do you think that went?
Well, it went bad, first of all, because the dude already was out of the car and halfway back before the officer even was getting out of his car. So you're already on guard. And then when I saw it the third time or second time, the dude already had a gun in his hand. He saw that clearly, probably telling him to drop it or whatever. And yeah, I mean, that was just bad all the way around.
Okay,
Jason,
good shoot, but just that was bad.
I have never gotten out of my squad car when I was patrol with two hands on my radio. That's why cop needs they need a lapel mic. Your hands need to be free. In that case, the guy that got out, my hand is on my gun, and my gun might be out of leather before I step out of the car. The fact that his hands are on a radio, screw the communication at that point. I got to save my own life here. Tactically, I would never have done what. And I'm not ripping on him. I mean, thank God things were okay, but that was not impressive to me.
No, he got very, very lucky to go home that night.
Yeah.
Several things didn't go well.
What was the outcome for the suspect?
Well, I think that Jason's right. First off, your radio should be on your duty belt and earpiece and a lapel mic at the minimum. But I think that his tactical training, I think flight come in there pretty strong on him. He backed away from his car. The best cover he's got is literally 8 inches from his hip. Behind that tire and behind that engine block gives him all the cover that he needs to be able to return fire from a covered position. And I don't know if the suspect was struck on that, but honestly, I'd be surprised if the suspect was struck on it. It looked like he got away. But he still could have been hit by a bullet. But that wasn't, in my opinion, the best tactical stance an officer could take on that situation.
Joe, we have
What do
a
you think
hand
of
up
the,
in the space.
Yeah, let's go ahead to the space.
James, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. Give me a second. My TV. This guy definitely
It
hit
looks
that
like that
situation a
guy
little
took around right at the beginning because it looks like he took a sudden jerk.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I've got two people going at once that I can hear talking at the same time.
Is it out of the space, though?
I have no idea. I see Kingdom Radio's on, and then somebody new came in, and I don't know what's going on now.
Yeah, I think it's someone who was going to speak had an echo, but I can mute the space if you hear it, and then we can test it real quick. Can you hear it right now?
Yeah, we should be good now, right? I think it was in the space.
Yeah, I couldn't hear
Okay,
anything.
yes.
that you just said.
Okay.
Let's go to James. James, go with your question and your comment, sir.
What I was going to say is this guy officer jumped into that situation very late. the passenger getting out of the car, he should have been demanding that he either gets back into the car over the PA or getting out of the car with his hand on the weapon, possibly even out of the holster already, being ready for whatever. Because somebody gets out of the car, not expecting, if they're not leaving the area, then that's something you need to control right the hell now. I also wanted to give a small shout out to my police veteran buddy who's watching on YouTube, Manny.
Outstanding. Which YouTube is he watching on? Is he watching on a Joe Lanu YouTube, or is it a Kingdom Radio? Not that we have any competition.
I don't know.
Well, James, our followership depends on it. Just let me know that he's following Joe Lanu on YouTube, and I would appreciate that. Folks, we're down to our last 3 minutes. We're going to do an after party on this. I think this was a great space. I've made some mistakes that I will not make again, especially when it comes to audio and video. My apologies. I literally figured that out, that it was the problem about 45 minutes before the show. And the way that I capture these videos, I've got to do them real time. I just didn't have an opportunity to do enough to fix my mistake. But I will not make that mistake again. I'm learning. But I think it's a great show. As long as my co-host and my guest agree to meet us here again next Friday, we'll absolutely do another one next Friday. Now, for folks, give us a follow out there. Give us a follow. Shoot us some DMs on X for sure. We've got some new and interesting things coming up next week. Next week, we will be doing video shows, and we're going to slowly try to migrate to it, but I've got to figure out how to keep my space audience intact and my space audience moved over with us. We've got some gear and some technology issues to work out that we're going to work on over the weekend. Hopefully have it done sometime next week. But eventually we would like to be able to merge video and spaces together where we're together like a family and have the discussions like we have in the spaces. But join us on X. We have an after party after the show. It will be should be an interesting discussion. We don't have any time delays there. We'll be able to go back and forth, and of course, we can review any of these videos. This will stay up for anybody else to watch. But that being said, I want to close the show out, and I want to show you guys something on the 3D response system. It is, I think I've got the promo loaded up here.
And you got a new blood that's in here, Lanu. TC of MBRR.
You know what? That was my secret co-host. Hey, TC. Before I play that,
how are you?
We're doing fine. We're about to sign off on the video program portion of this, but I'll shoot you an invite for the after party, and we can even go over the videos again. We're going to get you in here one of these Fridays, but you're a busy man on Fridays.
Well, yeah, I hosted Mike Termott, who's tonight on my platform on my show. He's running for president for the Libertarian Party, and I had to go get dinner. And then in the middle of dinner, or at the end of dinner, I had an individual in the tavern have a cardiac event, and I was trying to get back here for this. And the 13 years of first responder, law enforcement, correctional detention staff training kicked in, and of course, you do what you do in that moment, and you take over the scene.
No, absolutely.
Like right now, Lanu.
It's
Did he say that's what I'm doing right now?
Yeah,
it's true.
I'm what you did.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, sarcasm is appreciated.
Yeah.
Well, TC, with this group, especially with the panel members that are here in the yard stream with us, you got to take everything with a grain of salt because it will be served with satire and sarcasm, but nothing but love. But we've got to sign off here. Let's take this into the after party. But TC, I would like for you to start joining us when you can, when you're not out saving lives and wearing capes. Join us on a Friday night and go over some of these videos. We're still putting some of this together. But I follow you on X. I've seen some of the things that you do in some of your posts, and I think that you'll get along with this group real well. But here we go. Let's see what 3D response is all about. Here's a little quick message.
School should be a safe place.
That statement seems like a no-brainer, right? But the fact is, school districts have to be proactive about it.
So you're going to need to sign in, and here's the pass.
Maybe even try a new approach.
We are first and foremost focused on how do we have a layered approach to safety and security.
Lakeville Area Schools has made this a priority, from Superintendent Michael Bauman to the school board to the public. In 2019, they passed a levy and bond referendum that helped add an additional school resource officer to the middle schools. They set up an anonymous reporting system and added a psychologist to handle threat assessments.
We know that the kids that have been active shooters have had struggles, and at some point, you know, maybe if someone would have intervened in a different way, maybe we could have headed that off. And I do feel in our district that we've had numerous situations over the last few years that we have made an impact on kids.
Reality is, not all threats get caught in time. So Lakeville went one step further.
When we came up with the system, we wanted to answer all those what-if questions.
They partnered with Minnesota-based 3D Response Systems.
We understand that the prevention is the most important piece, and to develop those relationships with the people in your building is the most important thing you can do. Now, if one slips through the cracks, which in a population like this school of 1,500 kids, but it's very possible, then our system comes into play to keep as many people safe as we possibly can.
3D Response Systems is a multi-layered design to get the police there faster and provide tools for the people inside to survive. The company was started by police, firefighters, educators, and parents. It takes the active shooter training, run, hide, fight, and adds 3 things they say makes it more effective: cover, concealment, and communication.
Cover is something that's going to protect you from like a bullet. Concealment is something that I can't see you. Communication is having constant active communication to keep you in the know.
Almost all of it is out of sight, so you don't lose the feeling of a teaching space. The only visible signs are the police buttons on the wall in every room, in every building.
You simply push a button, and when you push that button, you've sent a text message to dispatch that says, police needed at room 102, Lakeville North High School. And each room, when they hit their button, a new text message will be sent. It also activates 1,200 pounds of magnetic pressure on your door, so you get a nice tight seal and you're not going to get through that door. And then lastly, it sets off the alert system both inside and outside the school.
Hidden ballistic panels can be pulled out of the walls if needed, and cameras help the officers responding get to where the threat is faster.
That's part of the communication piece that comes in, so the teachers know exactly where the intruder is. When the first officer arrives, they can talk to the officer and say he's on the 3rd floor by room 302.
Lakeville has installed the system in both high schools and is working its way through every school in the district. A system they hope they never have to use. But having it is peace of mind, because just hoping it never happens isn't a solution.
We're fully aware that you can't stop the first one. I mean, it's a reactive situation, but you can stop the next 5.
Rena Sargentopoulos, KARE 11 News.
Well, I'm a poor producer. All right, folks, that is it for the show. Once again, awesome. Thanks for everybody putting up with us. We are still fighting through some things, so I know that it's it could have been better. But we will we're making notes.
That's
and
what
we're
she said.
figuring out the gear that we need to. She didn't say that to me often. That's weird. But see what we can do to get this thing figured out and provide a better experience. But give us 10. Give us 10. We'll be in the after party. We can talk all about it. I'll have my note pen out and taking complaints. Thanks, everybody.
Night Court with Joe Lanou, live